Hi everyone, and welcome to the first in a series of interviews called Chaps Chats. Today we will be getting to know the head coaches of our senior teams from the under 20s, men's seconds, women's, and men's firsts. I hope you enjoy it and helps you become more familiar with who represents Wanderers FC at senior level.
So, Peter O'Donnell, nice to meet you. Not for the first time, anyway. Um, you're the under 20s coach for Wanderers at the moment, the head coach, and you've some great staff underneath you with the under 20s at the moment. Not boasting about myself, but
Gavin McGuire's brilliant.
Gavin Maguire is brilliant. Yeah, can't do anything without Gavin Maguire.
Yeah.
Just a few questions for yourself, just to kind of give the guys a bit of a background. Um, where are you originally from, like club wise and county wise?
So thanks for having me on. It's great to be part of Wanderers Rugby Club. I suppose such a well-established club, and really enjoying it so far. But and it's a great idea, I think, as well. So well done. But yeah, I started so I'm from Meath, grew up in Meath, and my original club or home club is Old Belvedere, which is just around the corner. So
Okay.
yeah, but I didn't play that much there until under 20s. I played a little bit of under 12s, um, and I really started playing rugby in Belvedere College.
Okay, cool. Just my next question for you would
Okay.
be, who have you played for, and at what level?
So I played in Belvedere College, and then after Belvedere, I went to Old Belvedere. Um, Went into the under 20 setup there. I was kind of wasn't sure where to go. Even though Belvedere was my home club, I was debating on a sports scholarship or play UCD or Trinity, play college rugby or a few other clubs maybe. But I guess it was easy enough. Once I was in UCD, I just said, look, I'll play in Old Belvedere. I know I'll get to know more people. It's my home club, I suppose, to a degree. So I played there. So I played 20s and then played a couple of years at senior. And I had a few stints in Australia, New Zealand in between that. So a club called Old Boys in Armadale, and then Sumner in Christchurch. So I've had
Ah,
a few stints.
so you're well traveled then, anyway. Um,
Yeah, but I should say I stopped playing rugby when I was 24. So
that's early. So my next one
Similar
is,
to me.
what teams have you coached prior to coaching the Wanderers under 20s?
so I've coached a few. The first real team I coached was actually when I was in New Zealand. So I was 20, and we were over playing rugby, and the local old boys, high school old boys were looking for, which is the same school as the likes of Dan Carter and Aaron Major, and um, I suppose a lot of those guys. I'm trying to think current players. But a lot of the Crusaders tend to come from there. But their under 15D team needed a coach, and that was kind of my first foray into it. And I kind of immediately got the bug for it. I absolutely loved it. So when I came back, then I coached in St. Michael's College at kind of under 12s and the 13s, and then first kind of real serious coaching gig that I enjoyed was Belvedere College Junior Cup team. Did that for 3 years. Then I kind of started doing a bit of work with the 20s, coaching 20s in Old Belvedere. I was still playing initially, and then I think it was my second year doing the Junior Cup in Belvedere. I kind of stopped playing around then, and just concentrated on the coaching. I was just enjoying that a lot more. So I did various teams in Old Belvedere for a good few years, from the 20s to the junior section, back to 20s to the senior setup, J1s and AIL. Then left there. I went to NACE. Um, while at that stage, I was also coaching at St. Columba's College. Um, Coached them for a couple of years, and left NACE, went to Ashburn in my first kind of head coaching role. Did that for 3 years. And then I started also coaching simultaneously with Castleknock College at that point. Then I suppose I should say I've also coached in the Leinster Pathway setup, so I'd done that for a couple of years in and around the NACE and the Ashburn kind of time. Was also coaching with the Irish women, assistant coach there for 2.5 years. Things didn't go so well in the 2017 World Cup, but that was a good experience nonetheless, being involved in that. And then I suppose back to club then from Ashburn, I went to Buccaneers for 2 years, and then most recently now, so to Wanderers.
Fairly lengthy resume. Good. I'm lucky to be working
So,
under you.
a good few clubs. You did ask.
Probably the best thing about playing rugby to you.
Well, geez, I haven't played rugby in a long time, Jer. So, but yeah, look, I think whether it's playing or coaching, I think for me it's always the people. Playing with your mates, or coaching with your mates, or just coaching good people. I think that's ultimately what I've always really enjoyed. Yeah, it's I always loved playing the game. I loved kind of just getting the ball in my hands, and having a run and throwing passes and trying things, and that was always how I enjoyed playing the game. But ultimately I think it was always like the crack afterwards in the dressing room, or whether. But yeah, no, I look ultimately I think it's always just playing rugby with people from different backgrounds, and getting to know people and building relationships, and I think that's always the best thing.
Cool. And just lastly, what would be your favorite rugby memory or moment?
This rugby moment, our favorite rugby moments. Yeah, look, I guess being fortunate to be part of a lot of very successful teams, in terms of winning trophies and whatnot. But I think the things that I've enjoyed more have actually been in games where the team and the players have put everything into it. There's a couple that kind of stand out for me. Um, but yeah, I remember coaching a school team at St. Columbus College, and we were played against a team called CBS Wexford, and we lost by a point and had a kick to win it in the last play and missed. And everyone was obviously very emotional because it's the school's cup, and there's a lot that goes into that. But I think, for me, I guess I was really proud of the group, because we, as I say, we weren't maybe that good a team, but I think they put everything into it, and I think that's meeting people and getting to know people, and um in rugby, that is, I think that's a great thing. But I think that it's those moments where you're very proud as a coach, or very proud as a player, because you've given everything, and they're the things that invoke obviously more longer term memories, I think, than winning a trophy.
Okay, cool. Thanks very much, Pete. Just
Thank
lastly,
you.
for any little tips for any player in the position you would have played yourself, like any little tips you
Oh
could.
yeah, if you're a proper front row, start yoga.
Very good. Cheers, Pete.
But
Thanks.
no, one tip is just pass catch, just
Pascal.
kick a ball,
Okay,
just keep a ball in your hands the whole time, and kick it around with as much as you can.
great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So we have Louis McGee with the immaculate haircut. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful.
It's not. You see the back of it.
So Louis, just quickly, just go over your role with Wanderers for us, just as an introduction.
So I'm the second head coach with Wanderers for the last, well, I was going to say last season, and 2 weeks of this season.
It's been a very short season this year.
Supporting Owen and Tommy would be the biggest thing there.
Good. So similar to Peter, questions are about where you're originally from, club wise and county wise, or even area if you're from Dublin.
So originally from Dublin, from Ballsbridge.
Okay.
And Bective Rangers would be my family club. And always has been. So but that's where I started out, and that's where I've played my rugby.
Okay.
Over the years.
Just moving on to our next question. So who have you played for? Like, have you played for multiple clubs, or have you always been a one club, two club man?
No, played a bit like Pete. Sort of finished rugby early enough. Played in Bective. Sort of seconds was as far as I got, because around the time that I was playing, it was extremely hard to get onto the first team in Bective. And also, I was a second row weighing 15 and a half stone. So where I was great in the line out, I wasn't adding much in the scrum, and I predominantly played seconds in Bective over the years. But no, didn't play for any club. I think I played Monkstown. I played under 16s, because at the time it was with a load of Michael's lads, but we couldn't play. I couldn't play for schools or something at the time. I don't know what it was, but yeah. So months down about it.
What teams would you have coached before or at the same time as the Wanderers seconds?
So I started my coaching in Bective minis on a Sunday, coaching under 10s with loads of chewing gum, and then went up. As I said, I sort of finished about when I was 20. I think it was about 25. I had sort of a lot of shoulder injuries, and just decided to pack it in. So I then took on the team that I was thirds, and I took on in Bective. So got to a league final with them, and then 20s in Bective. Did that for 2 seasons. Actually went outside of that, went to Trinity, coached the Trinity women's team for 2 seasons at AAL. So we were in the Division 2 at the time of the AAL. So coached them for 2 seasons. Back to Bective for a season. I think it was for thirds again. And then I was sort of jumping in and out. So I wasn't, I was coaching, but I sort of wasn't taking it so as seriously as I do now. So it was sort of like, I was giving a dig out at times. And then, so left there and then came into, I'm in Conlitz College. So basically was asked by the head coach at the time of the 20s, who was Shane Robertson, to come in, who played with Wanderers, to come in and help him coach the 20s. So I came in and did forwards coach with the 20s for 2 seasons. And then came in and had a very short stint head coach with the 20s and Wanderers. Unfortunately, we were lacking in numbers, unfortunately. So that's where I came in with Owen and Tommy with the seniors into the seconds.
Okay.
And then representative, I've coached Leinster 16s Metro and Leinster 18s Metro. Coached those 2 teams, forwards, so predominantly line out focused, and managed the under 18s Leinster youth team, which Pete would have been involved in, and Owen is now involved in currently.
Oh, good.
So
a lot of links going on there.
So a lot of links going on there, yeah, exactly.
So as I asked Peter earlier, what is the best thing you would have found playing rugby?
For me, as again, a bit like Pete gave up early, so it's hard to kind of remember. Like, I came from a sort of, I was going to say era, but like, it is different. Rugby is different compared to it is now, and a lot of it was sort of not a lot of technical stuff in training. It was very much about sort of how many hard people had you on the team and how many rows were going to happen on the pitch each weekend. I mean, it was, but what I really enjoyed about playing was the sort of the build. Like I took rugby seriously enough, so I used to like sort of build up from like the Friday, like not as my father used to say to me, he wouldn't come near me a couple of days before a match because I'd be grumpy. I just used to just get into a frame of mind, but don't talk to anyone. And then, so the main thing was playing with sort of lads that you were friends with. I played rugby with my 2 brothers, and I had 3 cousins on the team. So we made up nearly half the team at one point.
Keeping it in the family.
Yeah, and that's and again, a bit linking it in with coaching. It's the challenges each week change week in, week out. It's never the same, which is what I sort of enjoyed the most about it. It was the same with playing. It was always a different challenge.
Good.
So,
and what would be your favourite rugby memory?
I was trying to think about that, and I was trying to take it off the pitch to a certain extent, and not into the bar, but I used to go to the 5 Nations. Now, this is how long ago it was. The 5 Nations matches with my lad.
I think that was before I was born.
This one. So basically, we used to go to the matches together, and my dad, as I call it, he goes into airport mode. So he'd arrive, at the airport 3 hours before he should, 4 hours before he should, but he'd arrive at a rugby ground in Lansdowne Road 3 hours before kickoff, and we'd be at the back of the South Terrace. We used to always park ourselves at the back of the South Terrace. But I used to bring a stool with me. an actual stool that I stood on for matches. So I'm 6'6", and I used to bring a stool when I was a kid, and I used to park it behind one of the railings. And I used to stand, and I used to drive people bananas because whoever would be behind me would be going nuts. But like, no, but that like I used to love that, going to the match with Dad, and I was at the '91 quarter-final match. Remember in Lansdowne Road when we lost to Australia with the last-minute try, and I just remember, like, I still remember the whole ground just going in pure shock and going dead quiet, like, you know. But yeah, and in terms of from sort of on pitch, I mean, I've great memories with again with Bective, and just even coaching the sort of junior sides, where someone's saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be coaching those sides. They're it's a crap level rugby," where it's not. Like, it was sort of go, "No, these are lads I love seeing improving and enjoying the rugby." So great memories from that, and then with Leinster, representative with Leinster. Pete, I think you were involved possibly when we were up in at the sports ground. So when we won up there a few years ago, won the championship there. So those great memories there as well. Good. And seeing those lads starting to come through now as well into representative with Leinster, senior level.
That's great. Cheers for that, Louis. Thanks for the insight into your background there. It'd be really helpful to the guys. Alice, nice to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So just kind of give us an introduction into the background your current role with Wanderers.
So I'm the head coach of the women's team. So myself and Katie Fitzhenry have only just started this season, so it hasn't been much of a season, but we've really enjoyed it so far, and there's a great group of players involved there, and hopefully we can continue to grow it over the next season when we can play a bit more rugby.
Hopefully as well. I mean, a similar position with me and Pete with the under-20s as well. Just my first question, obviously, that's the same as the other. So where are you originally from, club-wise and county-wise?
So I'm just from Booterstown, so not too far from Wanderers. I only started playing rugby when I went to college. It wasn't, I guess, as big a thing as it is now for kind of young girls to play. So my first experience was actually in UCD. So I guess they would be my kind of original club.
Okay. So who have you played for? Your playing background and different
so
club
I played
and
with
level?
UCD. I played with UCD there for a good few years, and then I kind of had a brief stint in Blackrock, but I no longer play anymore. So I kind of went into coaching not soon after.
Just what teams have you coached and what level?
So I've coached UC Women's Rugby. I've been their head coach for the last couple of years, and I've been involved in there even longer. So that would be mainly at university level. You play all the colleges, so you get to do a bit of traveling around the country, which is always good fun. And I've coached the Leinster Metro under 18 girls as well, and now I'm with Wanderers.
Oh, good. So what would be the best thing about playing rugby that you would have taken from playing yourself?
I guess similar to what the others have said, it's the kind of people you play with and the friendships. Particularly when I played in with UCD, you kind of have players who have never played before, and you've players who've played at a very high level, all from different backgrounds, different areas, studying different things, and it's a great to, I guess, make all those friendships with all those people, particularly as college. I think can be a bit daunting, and it's an immediate friendship group once you're involved in the team. You've got people who can support you and you can rely on them, and they'll always give you a laugh as well. So I think for me, it's always been the people that have been involved.
And what would be your favorite rugby memory?
I'd have a few. I think what stands out is I've been fortunate enough to bring teams on a few tours, and they're great fun. The rugby is always a good laugh as well, and to meet people from different places who are playing and who love the game as much as you, and to build those relationships. And I think it also just as a team you become a lot closer. And I guess last year, I remember pretty much this weekend last year, I was in Madrid with UC Women's Rugby. We brought them over and we were sitting in the sun after playing a rugby match. Just both teams mixing, enjoying each other's company, and It's really fortunate when you have those moments where you know that you're making memories that are going to last a lifetime, that these girls will never forget, and you get to be a part of that. And I think there's really something special about that you can do that, and you get to do it a lot with rugby, be it when it's winning games or losing games, even just the kind of the bus trips down. There's always lots of good laughs and memories made.
Thanks very much, and it's great to have you as well with the club, because it's really given the young ladies who have joined at the mini level someone a figurehead to strive to look up to as well. Thanks very much for the insight into your background.
Thanks.
Grant. So. Mr. Owen Sheriff, you're up next.
Well, the quality is about to drop very rapidly now.
No, I've interviewed you before. You're not that bad. So, just give us a brief introduction as to what your role is with the with Wanderers at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm currently head coach of the first team, but the senior squad there's a big group of people involved, loads of us. So Pete and Louis who are on this. There's Tommy, Lukey, Fionn, Shane, Philly Horn. There's a kind of team within the actual team itself. So I just happen to have that label, but it's fairly spread out what we do.
So as we can tell from your accent, where are we originally from, club wise and county?
I thought you were going to say by your tan. I'm from the sunny southeast. Yeah, I'm a Mexican. Yeah, so I'm from Gorey. So and Gorey's where I started playing as well. So I don't know, was it under? I think it was under 8s, but I was kind of a little chunk, so I think they just pushed you up to under 10s. It was kind of done by size then, I think so. But that's where I'm a big chunk now. But that's where I started was in Gorey. So that's my club.
So I know your playing background, and just kind of share with the rest of us and with everyone who would be watching this video who you actually played for, at what level, and where you kind of started all the way up to where you finished playing.
Okay, so I started at Gorey. That would have been my home club the whole way up. I would have played Leinster Youths then, and through then that's how I ended up going to my first senior club was Lansdowne, because Willie Clancy would have been my Leinster Youths coach, and that was kind of a haven for all the country lads at the time to go and play 20s with Lansdowne. So I played AIL and stuff with Lansdowne. At that time then I was playing underage rep stuff, and I was involved in the Leinster setup. So I came through the academy and been in around the senior squad for a year or two. And then I went to Saracens in the UK. So I was there for 4.5 years. Actually, just before I went there, I had a really short but really enjoyable 2 games with Shannon and Limerick, so that was worth mentioning. And then so I spent 4.5 years at Saracens, and then my last year and a bit was at London Irish, and then I was ready for the scrap heap. Then I moved around too much, my body wasn't able for it. So yeah, that was my playing background.
Oh. So moving on to your transition, so what teams have you coached up until now with Wanderers?
Yeah, see, I didn't know. Some of the lads I played would find it hard to believe I do coach, because I didn't think I would end up coaching. So I kind of fell into it when I came back from the UK. I'd done a bit over there and I enjoyed it, but I didn't think too much of it. When I came home, one of my best friends was coaching Gorey under 17s, and he said, "Do you want to come down and have a crack with it?" So we did, and we ended up actually winning the Leinster League, I think. And through that, then Phil Horan asked me to do a bit with the forwards with this Gorey men's team. And they're a really strong team in the J1 League at the minute, in Leinster League. And so I've done a bit with them. Then I ended up doing a bit with Presbury with the school, became Junior Cup head coach. I'm still involved in school now with the seniors. I really, really enjoy that. And then I went to Wanderers then initially as the forwards coach, and then over the last 2 years as the head coach. That would be my first head coach job as such. And as the lad said, then I'm involved as the forwards coach of the Leinster Youths, which is actually I've never once had a job that I didn't love in any of coaching. They're all different levels, but I've loved every one of them, for different reasons. So I won't go into them.
Good. So just moving on to what's the best thing about playing rugby to you?
Yeah, everyone's taking all the good answers, No, but it is definitely the people you meet. Like it's the sports relationships you build in sport are different to other kind of relationships and friendships. Like you might not necessarily speak to each other outside once every 2 years maybe, but it's like you've never been away from one another because it's kind of a different bond when you've been through so much together. It's not like a normal office relationship or something like that. But no, it's definitely that, like going out after nights out going out after a big win, or the bus trips, or just having a laugh in the dressing room, slagging, having a laugh, throwing the ball around, and even just kind of if you have a big win and you can't sleep after because you're so high, I don't get that as a coach. You just collapse because you're so tired after, because you have to use your brain when you're coaching. When you're playing, you're just it's just all energy. But yeah, so like I think the thing with playing, and it's funny because a couple of guys I spoke to when the Energy series came in and said it AIL, a couple of players I'd spoken to were kind of like, oh, I'm not bothered with now that there's going to be no promotion or relegation. But the same lads now that they've had no rugby are going, she's not actually about that. It's really not. Like, I just want to get back being with people again.
So and what would be your favourite rugby memory?
Obviously, I thought on this one as well. My favourite one would be, I was lucky enough to have a good few, but the first one was probably one of them. Was Gorey is a really big, strong junior club now, but they hadn't really had any success when I was coming up. And definitely, like the men's team weren't great. I don't think at the underage we were never really won anything, but we won the Leinster under 16s. I was lucky enough to captain it, but the reason I remember this because they're all the friends I had since I was 5 or 6, and the ones they still be your close friends now. And we were kind of a bit of a ragtag rovers team. Like we just were pulling lads from GA teams. We had one lad who was European Taekwondo champion he got a red card because he still didn't know how to tackle, but he was a great lad. Like, but these lads we were kind of all just thrown together.
So thanks very much for the background into you, and I'm sure the guys, everyone at minis and youths level will be really interested in all the profiles we've gone through today. To finish up, I'd like you to give come up with a little skills challenge, or even just some sort of fit exercise challenge or something for the guys to do at home.
Keep it simple. Crossbar challenge from the 5 meter line. Crossbar challenge from the 22. 5 shots each.
That's perfect.
I can't believe you robbed mine.